Hello, fellow Movie Crusaders, and welcome to another episode of Sean's Movie Crusades. My name's Sean Wasserkrug, and today we're going to be reviewing a new horror film called Relic. Now, I know Relic's been out for about, I would say almost a month now, but obviously it's been a real busy last couple weeks for me, a lot of personal stuff, a lot of work-related stuff, so I haven't really been on much to be able to review a lot of things, so I'm going to kind of have to kind of release these like kind of in groups. But the first one we're going to be reviewing today is a horror film by the name of Relic. This was a big Sundance talked about horror film starring Emily Mortimer and also Robin Nevin and Bella Heathcote. Like I said, I heard really good things about this film. I thought coming out of Sundance, a lot of people were saying this was a very creepy film, and one that stays with you long after you see it. So I figured I have to check this movie out. So let's go ahead and jump into the review and see exactly what I thought of Relic. Now, for me, the main plot for Relic really is a daughter, a mother, and a grandmother are haunted by a manifestation of dementia that consumes their family's home. Basically, the way the general movie starts is that the grandmother character, Edna, played by Robin Nevin, she goes missing. So her daughter, Kay, played by Emily Mortimer, and her daughter, Sam, played by Bella Heathcote, are basically, they go out to Edna's house to basically kind of help try to find her and have someone be at the home in case Edna shows up. After a few days, Edna shows back up, acting like, nothing has happened. And of course, during that time, stuff starts to unfold, stuff starts to happen, and thus the horror aspects of the film truly begin. Now, for me, I'm actually a big fan of Emily Mortimer. I loved her in Newsroom. I think she's a really criminally underrated actress. I don't think she gets enough. And it could just be because it's her choice, but I just don't think she gets enough roles that she deserves. So I think she's one of the better female actresses out there. And in this movie, she does a great job as well. I think in terms of the cast, these three leading ladies all do a solid job performancing. You have Edna, who's kind of going through. She's holding like a deep, dark secret, but she's also going through dementia. So she's kind of in and out of herself throughout the film. And I think Robin Nevin does a really good job of weaving that fine line between knowing what's going on, frustration because no one's listening to her or kind of trying to take her from her home, and then when she actually truly is lost in herself, really making it believable that we really just don't know what she's thinking at that given moment. Kay obviously is stuck in a crossroads. She wants to take care of her mom, but she's also got a really busy work life. So she wants to be there for her mom. She wants to be supportive and take care of her, but she really needs to get back to the real world. And of course, with Sam's kind of like the honestly kind of most kids are age right now in the 20s and 30s, who's just kind of doing whatever, she's a bartender. She can kind of just drop everything and do whatever she wants. She just really wants to be there for Edna, and her and Kay are kind of at odds, but they have to work together to make sure Edna stays safe. So you got this dynamic between all three generations of women. And Kay is kind of just stuck in the middle because she wants to take care of Edna, but she needs to get back to her personal life. And Sam basically guilts her whenever she wants to go back to her personal life. So Kay is really kind of stuck in this situation. But I think they all three do a solid performances throughout. I really actually liked Bella Heathcote. I actually never seen her really in anything that I can think of off the top of the head. And I think she has a solid performance as Sam, as kind of the one person who's kind of noticing things are off, but is still just so faithful and loyal to Edna that she's trying to kind of overlook things, but she's noticing some weird things happening throughout the film. For me, the one problem that I have with this movie, I mean, there's many little problems here or there, but the main thing that happened is that this movie's not scary at all. And it's doing the one trope that for me lately has really been irking me on a lot of horror films, is because it's so dark, it's supposed to be scary. And that's the problem with this movie, is that most of the movie is shot, or any kind of scary moments, it's so dark with the lighting and everything that you can't really make out anything. So you kind of just have to put yourself in the imagination of it, which if you're not in the mood to do that, or if you really need to visually see what is going on, then this movie is going to be kind of more annoying or frustrating for you than most people. Also, I feel like this movie is really trying its best to kind of be like Hereditary in a sense. Not that there's a demon payment or anything like that, but in terms of, the grandmother to the mother to the daughter kind of thing, where it's kind of going down the line. But it just is not able to execute it well at all. Like, I could see in the film, okay, they're really trying hard to make this kind of a Hereditary kind of thing, which I think in terms of what Hereditary actually was, this definitely falls more into the family line kind of thing than Hereditary itself does, where Hereditary was more of a cult that had the family in it. This one is more or less down to the actual family line in the film. So I think in terms of what the actual title of Hereditary stands for, this does a better job of it, but it does not execute anything in the way that Hereditary did, which was one of my favorite films of 2018. Hashtag Tony Collette for Oscar. But like I said, the main problem is throughout the entire film, there's never a moment where there's an actual explanation of what's going on, why this is going on, and how to stop it. There's one point in near the film that it looks like one of the main characters have kind of figured out why things are happening the way they're happening, but then instead of fixing that or taking care of that and saving the day or whatever, they kind of just go, oh well, and just kind of let it go, which was, to me, was really frustrating, because if you're going to do that, it's just like, it's one of those things where it's like, if you're in the middle of the street and you see a car coming and it's not going to stop, you either get out of the way or you let the car hit you. And in this case, it feels like the movie more or less just said, let's let the car just hit you. You're smart enough to know to move out of the way, and you're smart enough to do it, and you have enough time to do it. You're just choosing to get hit by the car. I'm not saying that's what happens in the film, but that's kind of what was going on in terms of as an example in this film, which made it really incredibly frustrating, because it's like, why did I waste 90 minutes of my time to see a horror film that's an incredibly slow burn? When I mean slow burn, I mean we're over an hour into it and not a lot has happened outside of just the family dynamics of drama going on. So if you're looking for something that's going to keep you going horror-wise throughout the film, this is definitely not going to do it for you. But in terms of, like, story-wise, it's a good story, but it's selling you on a horror film, and it's really not delivering. And the reasoning for the horror aspects of the film are not delved into. They are not explained. They just kind of, it happens. There's this one little inkling of a story, but it's just a story, and it has no connective tissue to the plot to connect it to being, this is why this is happening. Just that, oh, this happened, I guess this is what's happening here. It's like, no, you need to actually have the connective tissue to connect the plot and make sure that the plot makes sense throughout, because right now it's just happenstance. And even when it being happenstance, there's no dialogue to suggest anyone understanding what's going on, or anyone even really trying to stop what's going on. They just kind of accept their fate and accept what's going on. And to me, that makes it a very frustrating film overall. So in terms of overall recommendation, I can see aspects of why this is getting a lot of love during Sundance, because it's a very artsy horror film. But for me, in terms of an actual horror film, it fails. It is not a good horror film by any means. It does have 3 great lead performances with Emily Mortimer, Bella Heathcote, and Robin Nevin. So if you want to see some great acting performances between these 3 women, then definitely check this out. But in terms of an actual horror film and what it's trying to deliver to you, Hereditary does 1,000 times better. And I would recommend that every day of the week, no matter what, over Relic. So for me, in terms of recommendations, I definitely cannot recommend Relic. I was not a huge fan of it. But going to my actual overall score, because of the performances being so strong, I'll give Relic a 5.8 out of 10. This is not a movie I would ever really go back and watch. This is not a movie that that stayed with me long after I saw it, other than annoyance. Like certain reviewers have said that this movie stays with you. It didn't. Hereditary stayed with me for long after I saw it. This movie, I was more just glad that it was over so I could get on with the rest of my day. So I hope you guys enjoyed the review. If you guys did, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys feel like this review is worth sharing, go ahead and hit that share button. But most importantly, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to the channel so you guys stay up to date with all the latest videos that pop up on Sean's Movie Crusades. And of course, don't forget to follow us on all the social media outlets you see below. Coming up next, we have another movie that's kind of been out for a little while now, but I'm just now getting to it. It is the war film, The Outpost. And until next time, in case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Movie Crusaders.